Coyote and Badger, desert hunters of the Southwest.
That's cool.
Okie doke, there's blank.
Oof, a lot of blank pages.
Yeah.
Coyote and Badger, desert hunters of the Southwest.
A badger. Dad, what does badgers do?
Petroglyphs.
Yeah, well, I never heard about those. This was caveman.
To my father, Roy, who loves the desert, and his wife, Glad, who loves him.
Wait, look at that man.
Yeah, there's another petroglyph.
Yeah. I spotted that one right away. There's some.
Coyote woke up hungry again. He stretched his old, stiff legs and looked out at the desert. The sun was going down, but the air was still hot. Coyote hoped to spy a rabbit, or even a mouse, since he hadn't eaten in 2 days.
Wow.
These were hard times for all the animals of Chaco Canyon. No rain had fallen that spring, and there were no fresh leaves for the small animals to feed on. And so Coyote, the hunter, often went hungry too. Now he trotted silently up the canyon to try his luck once more.
I love you.
I love you too.
I'm so snipply.
Across the arroyo, the dry stream, Coyote scared up a rabbit, and a dizzy chase began. There's the rabbit.
Wait, could I see the rabbit?
There's
Come
some
over
more
here.
paintings right there.
The rabbit streaked through the salt brush, with Coyote snapping at his heels. For a moment, it looked as though old Hunter might eat well,
I think
but the
it died too
cottontail
bad.
was too quick and squeezed between some rocks by the canyon wall. So those are the rocks. Coyote scratched around the hiding place a while, and then went to look for something slower, or maybe something dead to eat.
Well, it's already dead, so it's already.
Farther up the canyon, Badger emerged from her den. She left her 2 pups safely underground and waddled off as the air began to cool. Badger was a night hunter too, but she seldom chased rabbits. She was a digger, not a runner. Her short legs and long claws were perfect for hunting animals that lived beneath the earth. I see her long claws. She used those for digging.
Ants.
Are those ants? Little ants?
What are those things? There's a
Ooh,
bug.
pottery fragments.
What are those?
Could I
Why
see
are
the
they
ants?
underground?
Those are the ants right there.
Why are they underground? Who
Whoa.
cares? Now there's some weapons on the ground.
When Badger found the hole of an antelope squirrel, she tore into the hard soil. The dirt fairly flew, and in a wink she was underground following a dark tunnel.
What are
It's a
those,
dark
Dad?
tunnel. Looks like dog tags. No animal can dig as fast as a badger, but the squirrel raced ahead and escaped to the surface.
Everybody knows
Badger
that's a
dug many
weapon.
holes that night before she came home with meat for the pups. Prey was scarce now, especially around the den. It was time to move her family to a new hunting ground. As the sun rose, Badger led the way down the canyon, with her little ones close behind. Few animals ever messed with Badger, for she was a fierce fighter. But the open desert is a dangerous place for pups. At any turn, a hungry coyote or bobcat might be waiting. Overhead in the clear morning air, an eagle watched them closely. Oh, there's the eagle.
Where's the bobcat?
At last, they reached one of Badger's other burrows, by an old pueblo. She checked the tunnels for rattlesnakes as the pups scurried into the cool darkness of their new home. Not far from there, Coyote settled down to sleep for the day. He was still terribly hungry. When evening came, Badger began hunting in the greasewood bushes near the pueblo. She was already underground exploring a promising hole when Coyote heard the sound of her digging. Quietly, carefully, he stole closer. Suddenly, a kangaroo rat, fleeing from Badger, hopped from a tunnel. A quick pounce and Coyote had food. He checked the other holes. Another rat, about to leave its burrow, saw Coyote and fled back down the tunnel. That rat became Badger's dinner. There's the kangaroo rat right there. When Badger scrambled back to the surface, she found Coyote waiting. Instantly she backed away, baring her powerful teeth. For a moment the two animals faced each other, hissing, growling, their fur standing on end. But then a curious thing happened. As they sniffed each other's scent, they relaxed a little. Coyote came forward. He took in Badger's musky odor, while she could almost smell the hunger on his fur. And as they circled one another, the ancient and mysterious bond between coyotes and badgers took hold. They began hunting together that very night. Coyote the swift runner led the way to a prairie dog's den as Badger shuffled along behind. Then Badger, the master digger, went to work. With Coyote standing guard, there was no safe place for the prairie dogs above ground or below. Soon each partner had a full belly, and Badger was headed home, carrying meat for the pups. In the nights that followed, Coyote and Badger became an awesome team. They became a fearsome team. Not every hunt was successful, but it was much better than hunting alone.
Hey, Dad, how did they look at each other like, what? I'm so confused.
Well, they're friends now.
Okay.
So usually they hunted pack rats or ground squirrels, but one bright morning, the two of them were nosing about in the brush when a rabbit jumped out. Instantly, Coyote was after it. The rabbit zigged and zagged. There's the rabbit, hiding in the rock right there.
Yeah, I see it.
The rabbit zigged and zagged, racing ahead to a big rock, where it slipped into a crack. Coyote circled the huge chunk of sandstone, but the crack was too narrow for him. Badger hurried over and began to dig her way in. Now the rabbit had only one chance left. Oh, look, there's a roadrunner.
Really?
Yeah, right there.
I already spotted that before.
Good.
Could I see it?
Yeah, there's a roadrunner right there. Whoa. With a desperate leap, it sprang for the open desert. But Coyote was there. 2 bounds, a quick bite, and it was all over. Coyote hid the kill, and the partners trotted off to hunt a bit longer before the oven-like heat of the day began. In the wild, death and life are partners too.
Dad, what's that? This is not.
Looks like a sign for on the road.
No.
The drought grew worse as summer arrived. Each cactus, once swollen with water, shrank as it waited for the rains to begin. Coyote and Badger
That bug?
often traveled far in search of prey, resting side by side when they grew tired. But they seldom went hungry, and Badger always took meat back to her pups.
I don't think so.
The pups were getting big now. Badger let them play and dig little holes
Like what?
by the burrow when she was home. They were so full of energy and life.
Like how?
Then one morning, Badger returned from a long hunt with Coyote to find only one pup in the den. She looked for the missing youngster at his favorite digging spot, but there was no sign of him. Badger searched everywhere. Then, behind the pueblo, she found shreds of fur, some blood, and an eagle feather. Badger, mother of many pups, knew this one would never return. When Coyote looked for Badger that evening, she was gone. He found the trail of his hunting partner and her other pup, but Coyote did not follow. The time of parting had come. The pup would soon be old enough to hunt for itself, and there was much that Badger must teach her alone.
Wow.
Coyote went back to hunting by himself. It was hungry work again. Even mice were hard to find now, for the rain still had not come. Through the dark nights, Coyote searched for food, and when the sun burned down, he slept. At night, as Coyote prowled near the ruins of an ancient kiva, the old hunter threw back his head and let out a long yip and howl. From around the canyon, other coyotes joined in. The song echoed off the dark walls and floated up toward the river of stars in the sky. Wow. There's the rabbit again. Late the next afternoon, Coyote woke to the rumble of distant thunder. Dark clouds were rolling toward the canyon rim. Soon strong gusts of wind rippled through the dry grass, and Coyote caught the scent of rain. In her den, Badger felt a tingle as lightning split the sky. Then the first big drops splattered on the dusty soil. The summer rains were here at last. Now the desert would be green again, and for a time there would be more food for all the animals. Badger listened as the rain swept up the canyon, and deep in the storm she heard something strange yet familiar. It sounded like Coyote, howling in the wind. The end.
There's the author. Oh, that's good.
Nice book. Coyote and Badger, Desert Hunters of the Southwest.
Okay.